For 4 years, Jordan and his son Marcus have been living with the void left by their beloved wife and mother, Sarah. When Jordan finds new love with his colleague Mia, their wedding day arrives. But in the middle of the ceremony, Marcus suddenly runs forward holding a box. With a trembling voice, he cries, "Don't marry her, Dad. Look at this." What's inside the box? Before we continue, have you subscribed yet? Hit that button for more amazing stories and tell us in the comment where you're watching from. The silence in the house was a living thing. For 4 years, it had crept into every room, a quiet testament to the absence of Sarah. Jordan would sit on the worn leather armchair where she used to read to Marcus and listen to the stillness. He had become a master of the mundane, waking Marcus for school, making sure he ate, helping with homework, and tucking him into bed. But after the good nights were said and Marcus was asleep, the normalcy Jordan had built crumbled. He was left alone with his grief, holding a photo of Sarah, her smile radiant, and feeling the familiar hollow ache in his chest. The memories were vivid and painful, a montage of shared laughter, quiet evenings, and the simple joy of their family of 3. He longed for the sound of her voice, the warmth of her presence. His colleagues at the architectural firm had been kind, but their pity felt like a spotlight on his pain. He had retreated into himself, burying his personal life under stacks of blueprints. Then, Mia joined the team. She arrived like a ray of sunlight, her laugh a deep, resonant sound and her energy a tangible presence. She moved with purpose, her infectious smile a constant feature. Jordan found himself drawn to her, not just by her professional competence, but by the lightness she carried. She reminded him of a part of himself he thought he had lost. Their friendship began with simple office banter, then escalated to shared lunches. Jordan found himself truly talking for the first time in a long time. He spoke of his work and his dreams, and cautiously, of Marcus. He never mentioned Sarah, but Mia seemed to understand the deep, unspoken history. Over the weeks, their connection deepened, evolving into something more. The happiness was new and fragile, a bloom pushing up through concrete. He saw a future that wasn't just about enduring, but about living again. The day he decided to introduce Mia to Marcus was a nervous one. He prepped Marcus with a casual, "A friend from work is coming over," but the boy's antennae were up. Marcus, at 8 years old, was a miniature version of Jordan, all quiet observation and hidden depths. He greeted Mia with a polite nod and a closed-off expression. Mia, with her warm spirit, tried every trick. She asked about his video games and complimented his drawing, but Marcus gave monosyllabic answers, his body language a fortress of silent hostility. He kept his head down, and Jordan watched, his heart sinking with each unanswered question. It was clear Marcus saw her not as a guest, but as a direct challenge to the memory of his mother. The simmering hostility finally boiled over at an amusement park. Jordan had thought the festive, chaotic atmosphere would break the ice, but it did not. Mia, in her kindness, had bought Marcus a massive swirl of ice cream. As they walked, Marcus was a few steps ahead. Mia called out to him, "Hey, slow down there, little man." She smiled, her hand reaching out. In that split second, something dark flashed in Marcus's eyes. He slowed his pace just enough for Mia to catch up, then deliberately stuck his foot out. Mia tripped, her gasp swallowed by the surrounding laughter. The ice cream cone flew from her hand, landing with a splat on the pavement. The joyous scene around them seemed to mock the sickening silence. Jordan's face hardened. He looked at his son, then at Mia's tearful apology for being clumsy. The lie was so transparent. Back in the car, the silence was suffocating. Jordan pulled into the driveway and turned to face his son. "Marcus, why did you do that?" he asked, his voice low and strained. Marcus's chin trembled. "I don't know," he whispered. "That's not true." "You did it on purpose," Jordan said, his voice rising with a sorrowful frustration. "Why would you do something so mean?" The dam broke. Marcus's face crumpled, and he sobbed. "You're going to marry her," he cried, "and you'll forget Mom. You'll forget us, and you'll forget everything." He buried his face in his hands, small frame racked with grief. Jordan felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. He reached for Marcus, pulling him into a tight embrace. The boy's words echoed the fear that had been Jordan's own, the fear that moving on meant letting go. He hadn't understood that Marcus's hostility wasn't about Mia. It was about protecting the memory of Sarah. It was a plea to not be replaced, to not have his mother erased from their lives. Heartbroken, Jordan knew what he had to do. He called Mia that night, explaining that Marcus wasn't ready, that he had to be there for his son first. He saw the understanding in her eyes and the profound sadness. The call ended with a shared, broken silence. Jordan was back in the familiar emptiness, his heart aching for both the woman he was letting go of and the boy he was trying to save. Marcus watched his father retreat back into his shell, saw the light in his eyes dim once more, and a heavy, suffocating guilt began to settle. Weeks went by, and the house was a tomb again. One evening, Marcus found Jordan sitting in his armchair, the photo of Sarah in his hands. He watched his father's pained expression and felt a new ache. It wasn't just about protecting his mother's memory anymore. It was about his father's happiness. He walked over, his small hand timidly reaching for Jordan's. "Dad," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "I'm sorry." "I was wrong," Jordan looked up, his eyes weary. "It's okay, son." "It's okay." "No," Marcus insisted, his voice stronger now. "It's not. You deserve to be happy. Mom would want you to be happy." He looked Jordan straight in the eye, his gaze filled with a maturity far beyond his years. "She's still with us, Dad." "She'll always be with us." He gave his father a small, shaky smile, and Jordan felt a wave of love so fierce it brought tears to his eyes. The wedding day dawned, a golden, perfect day. Jordan stood at the altar, a sense of profound peace settling over him. He watched as Mia, stunning in her white dress, began to walk down the aisle. Her smile was the sun itself, and for the first time in years, he felt a wholeness he never thought possible. As the minister began to speak, Marcus, who was sitting in the front row, suddenly stood up. His face was streaked with tears, his chest heaving. "Dad!" he cried, his voice cutting through the hushed church. He rushed forward, a small box clutched in his hand. "You can't do this." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Jordan's heart plummeted. He knelt down, meeting his son's tear-filled eyes. "What is it, son?" he asked. Marcus held out the box. "Look," he pleaded. Jordan opened it to find a photograph of the three of them, a moment captured in time at a park. The memory was so vivid it hurt. He saw the raw pain on Marcus's face, the fear that this day meant the end of all they had been. But then, a soft hand touched his shoulder. Mia. She knelt gracefully beside him, her own eyes filled with tears. She took Marcus's hands. "Hey, sweetie," she said, her voice a gentle murmur. "You're so brave to show us this. And I want you to know something. I could never, ever replace your mom. That's not what I'm here for. She's a part of you, and she's a part of your dad, and she'll always be a part of our family." She took the photo, her fingers brushing over it gently. "Her memory is a treasure, and we'll always keep it safe. If you're not ready for this, we can stop right now." Her honesty and empathy were a balm. Marcus looked from her tear-filled eyes to Jordan's, seeing the profound love and understanding in both of their gazes. He saw that Mia wasn't a threat. She was a promise. He gave a single firm nod. He took the photo back and with a final tearful smile, placed it on the table next to the altar, a symbolic offering. He was including Sarah, forever, in the new family they were creating. Months later, on a breezy Sunday afternoon, the new family of three visited the cemetery. The sun shone down on Sarah's headstone, and a bouquet of fresh flowers lay at its base. Marcus knelt down, brushing a stray leaf from the polished marble. "Hi, Mom," he whispered. "I'm sorry for being so mean. I was scared, but I'm not scared anymore. Dad is so happy now. And Mia, she's really great. She loves me. She loves us both. And I love her too." Jordan and Mia stood together, their arms linked, watching the boy. The old silence was gone, replaced by a comfortable stillness. They were a family, built not on forgetting, but on remembering. A new morning had dawned, and with it, A new kind of love had been born, one that was strong enough to hold both the sorrow of the past and the joy of the future.